This tutorial is sponsored by VideoBlocks. Hey, what's up guys, Chris Connor here and welcome to a brand new creator tutorial. And this one is a special one because it signifies the start of an amazing series called Star Wars VFX Academy. Star Wars has a special place in my heart as it has for most filmmakers, VFX artists and of course the fans, and I could not be more excited. So we're kicking things off with the Force Levitation. Let's take a look at the clip. Pretty awesome. It's a very subtle effect and easy in its structure because it essentially uses a clip, a green screen, which is the saber, and a force field and some smoke and color grading effects. But I think the result looks pretty badass. So Star Wars VFX Academy has been an idea that I had for a long time, but I wasn't really able to realize it until now. So before we move on, I want to take a moment and introduce you guys over to the amazing people at VideoBlocks who made this tutorial possible. VideoBlocks is for us, the filmmakers, the VFX artists, the producers. It's a subscription-based service that offers members access to an amazing array of downloads from stock footage, motion backgrounds, special effects, After Effects templates, and more. Their library consists of beautiful landscapes, wildlife, aerial shots, explosions, slow-mo clips, but the astonishing part is that they offer a 7-day free trial for new members, which is the best way to get introduced to VideoBlocks, experience their service, and get access to stunning content for free. So guys, make sure to follow the link in the description, get signed up, and start browsing. Enjoy! And with that, fire up After Effects and let's get started. So the first thing I always do is set up my project. So I will click this thing, and this is my selection, and I already have a tutorial as to why I select them. So I will click OK, and now I'm ready to import my file. So I will go to my folder, click it, and I will go to footage and select my edit clip, drag and drop. Awesome. I will drag it into a new composition. And this is what I have. Let's put on half, cool. It's basically me pretending to use the force, which is not hard for me, obviously. And what you want to do is basically move very slowly. You do not want to actually move in like real time, and you want to make everything in a slow pace, like breathing, in the way you move your hands and everything from blinking. It might take a bit of practice, but it will help sell the effect, because in movies usually they do not move in a real pace when they use the force. So cool. So this is my clip. Now many of you guys have asked me about like project files or footage, and these things are available as rewards if you support the channel. Basically, by becoming a patron on Patreon, you get access to rewards like this. So I will have a link in the description, and if you're interested, please check it out. And so now let's start making magic. So what I want to do is basically bring in my saber comp, which is on my footage, and this is my saber footage. Awesome. Drag it in, and here's what I have. I have my saber hilt, which I built myself, and I will have another tutorial on it in front of a green screen. And the reason why I do this is because I want to separate the foreground from a background and put something else behind it, which is basically my clip. So what I want to do now is remove the green and keep just the saber. So I will hit right click and pre-compose, and let's call this simply saber, and press OK. And I will double click to open this composition, and here I'll put it on full for now, and I will select my pen tool and draw a rough mask with my clip selected, because I don't want to use things that are not in the shot, because that makes the After Effects workflow easier to understand which green values it should remove basically. So with my mask on, I will go through my timeline and make sure that my mask does not intercept the actual saber. Pretty cool. And now I'm ready to remove the green. Basically, key. So I'll go to Effects, Keying, and Key Light 1.2. Selected. And I'll click this one and select my screen color, which is basically right this one. And as you can see, it basically removes the everything green from the picture, but we still have some artifacts because even though it was a pretty good green screen, as you can see it's clean, we still need to calculate like which values of green we should remove. So let's go here. Everything looks cool. So I will go to Screen Mate, and I will play with my clip black and clip white. So I usually use around 75. I mean, always, it's really depends on your how you shot your green screen. So this looks okay, and let's go to clip white 72 as well. That was not what I wanted. Let's go 74. Awesome. So let's go on and on. Looks pretty good for now, so I'm gonna leave it to that, and I'll go back to my clip. And as you can see, this is what it does. I'm actually gonna put this on full for now. So I will start making this not look back basically. So let's play with this scale. Hit S and make it around 30. Reposition 33. There we go. 32. Awesome. Okay, now hit P and play with the position to make it look as if it's actually there. That looks pretty good, I think. But now, as you can see, our saber does not really match the background in terms of like color, so we have to fix that. So with my clip selected, I will go to Effects, Color Correction, and Curves, and I will make a basic S curve here. And just put it, there we go. That looks way cooler. But now because we differentiated the blacks and we basically push them downwards, as you can see, the saturation also changed. So I will go to Effects, Color Correction, and Tint, and let's have it at 25%. Okay, looks pretty good. Another thing, as you can remember, our scale has been reduced, and that makes things look sharper than our actual comp. So I'll go to Effects, Blur and Sharpen, and Fast Blur. You can use camera lens blur, but for this one it's faster, as the name implies. So I will select this one, repeat edges, and blurriness around 3, maybe 2. Cool. Okay, that looks pretty good for now, so I will move on. So now what I want to do is basically move through the timeline and adjust the position of the saber as my hands move up and down, with my breathing basically. So let's see what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hit P and I'm gonna put it on half, and I'm gonna scroll through the timeline. So as my hands stay still for the most part, there we go. See, there they start rising. So I'm going to go right here, and I'm gonna put a position keyframe. I'm gonna move forward right when they stop rising, which is about there, I would say. And I will move my saber up using my key arrows, because I don't want to make any sudden movements, because that will make it look way fake basically. You could track your hands, but when I was designing the effect, I saw that it wasn't really the best way, and actually doing it manual and then adjusting the frames had a better result basically. So I will move on right there, No. Right there, it looks like it hasn't moved that much. Let's put another keyframe, move on. So now they're moving downwards, which is okay, but not that much. So right there. Let's move the saber down, move forward. And actually that looks pretty okay, I would say. And a bit up here. Now, okay. Then I will select my keyframes and hit Shift F9 to ease in the movement. And actually, here's the trick. If you click this one, it opens up the keyframe movement, and you can make like small adjustment to ease the movement of the keyframes themselves, so they're not as harsh, let's say, when they move. So, and another thing I did in this one, let's close this, is I hit P and then hit Alt and the keyframe. And here's what I want to do. I basically want to give the saber a very small dynamic movement that's very subtle but makes a difference. So I will hit our favorite expression, which is wiggle, open parentheses, 0.5, comma, 0.5. And I will close the parentheses and go away. So if I zoom out and I scroll through, you could see how these things move now. And actually, you know what? Let's run preview this. Okay, let's see what we got. It looks okay, but the movement from here to here is not big enough. So I will go right there and change the position of the saber to be even higher. Let's take a look at this one. And let's see. Up and down. Okay, so here we have a very harsh move because I changed the keyframe. So I'm gonna see it says 640, so I'll go here and put 640 as well. There we go. Let's see now. We can actually do it even more than this one. Okay, select the saber. It really depends on your clip, and you always have to do like micro adjustments because nothing is the same all times. So let's see, scroll through, go as up, goes down, and just up again, right there. I'll put 2 clicks up. Okay, let's run preview this one. Yes, this is way closer to what I was expecting. Okay, awesome. And with that done, we're almost there. So what we need to do now is basically create a force field effect. And there are 2 ways to do this. One is better than the other one, obviously, but there's a catch. I used Video Copilot's Hit Distortion plugin, which is not free, but it's not expensive, but it gives amazing results very fast and very efficiently. But I will also show how to get a similar effect with turbulent displacement. So let's do this one. So I will click my saber. And hit Ctrl Alt Y once, and I will right click, rename, and let's call this one Displace. Awesome. Now I'll actually hit my pen tool and I will create a mask around what would be affected in our eyes, basically if there was a force field. So I will hit a point here and start. In order to get this curve, you just have to hold the key and drag it. So let's go through, and I want to include my hands and a bit of the surroundings for this one, and actually Control Z. Let's try to make it equal. Okay, cool. And I will hit F and feather it so it's not as sharp, let's say. So I'll put a 200, I think, feather. We can always go back to this one. So with my layer selected, I'll go to Effects, Video Copilot, and hit Distortion. And as you can see, this is pretty great because their plugin also include heat maps, and that is why the effect is so much advanced than the actual heat turbulent displacement that After Effects has, but we're going to take a look at it later. So I will change it to smoke distortion amount, very small one, let's say 5. Let's go with 3. Okay, now heat amount, it's not really a fire, so I don't really need that much, but just enough. So let's put half, 25. Now, as you can see, this is way too much, so let's go with 10. Okay, awesome. And I also want to, despite the fact basically that it has an automatic evolution of the field, I want to adjust the speed of that field using wind speed and noise speed. So I'll go to wind speed 0.25 and noise speed, let's just put the same, honestly, 0.25. So it's really small. So I will click away, zoom out, let's put on half, and let's preview. Okay, let's take a look. Yep, that looks pretty awesome. And let me zoom in here, even though we have half, just to see it a bit better. You see how subtle the speed is and how that heat effect actually makes it look more realistic for some way. So that's it. I'm pretty happy with the result. Let me change this to full. And yeah, but let's say you don't have the Video Copilot plugin and you want to create something similar. So let's take a look at this one. So I will hit Control D and remove my first one, and I will actually delete the heat distortion, but I still want to keep my mask, right? So I'll go to Effects, Distort, and find, what is it? Turbulent Displays. Awesome. Ooh, okay. And I used a different technique in this one, despite the fact that this one is on top of both clips. I'm gonna put this one below the saber, and you will see why. Let's make some adjustments. Let's go to the beginning, and let's change the amount to 25, and let's say this one 10. Because again, I want the actual size of the displacement to be small, but evident enough. And I will actually click this one to high, and I will keyframe the evolution. So I'll go to the beginning, hit my keyframe, go to the end, and I will make a cycle of 6 basically. Okay, and then I will hit Control C to my displacement, go to the actual saber comp, and hit Control V to paste. And here I will flip the values, hit 10, so a smaller amount, but the size will be even then, because as you can remember, the size of the saber has been changed to 32 from 100%. So that's why I flipped those values. That does not mean that you always will have to do that. It's always a test and basically preview to see if your selections make sense. So let's put it on half again. Click this one and preview it for the last time, hopefully. Okay. There we go. Let me zoom in and see, it's not exactly the same, but it sells the effect basically. So that's pretty cool. Now, usually the last thing I do is put an overall adjustment layer with a film grain effect. So let's actually delete this, delete the turbulence, and use the original displays. Awesome. Actually, yep. Control Z, 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 delete this one, and leave this one. Okay. I'll put this on full, and what I essentially want to do is create a film grain effect and match everything. So I'll hit Control Alt Y, and let's rename this really fast to film grain. Okay. With my click selected, I'll go to Effects, Nose and Grain, and Add Grain. Intensity 0.01. Hit Tab 0.5. Actually, no. Hit 0.5 on this one, 0.05, and 0.1 on this one. Awesome. Then from Preview, click Final Output. Now let me zoom in here. So as you can see, we basically put a film grain, like basically noise, on top of that to just merge everything together. Now, this one is a bit excessive because the scene is so dark, so I'll hit T to open up the opacity and put it down to like 50. Awesome. So if I zoom in here, off, on. You know what? Let's put it 75. Okay. And don't worry, the noise is so small that it actually gives the sense of a sharper image when it's on. And that's it, guys. What I did after that, it was or actually before my noise film grain layer, because I always put that at last. If you watched my color grading tutorial, I used some smoke assets from Video Copilot's Action Essential pack, and that was it. With some music and some cool editing, that was the result. And if you're wondering about the red eyes, I also had another tutorial which was more complex than those eyes, but it gives you a pretty awesome understanding about eye effects. So, okay guys, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something, and stay alert for the upcoming Star Wars tutorials and everything else Creatrix. Stay awesome, and I'll see you on the next one.